What's going on YouTube? Making a video because fuck, I have nothing else to do. Anyway, today we're talking about fitting 35s on a TJ. Alright, if you consult the internet about this topic, there is a wide variety of answers. And I'm gonna go over, just checking out my sway bar here. Let's see, how's this shit loose? Sorry, oh fuck, I'm missing something. God damn it. Anyway, talking about fitting these tires, alright? Once upon a time I had a little TJ. If you go back some videos you'll see it. It was stock and cute, and now it's this turd, which is worth no money, but my god I love it. And how did it get here and how do you fit these tires? Well, I'm about to tell you. So I went to 4 Wheel Parts once and said, hey, I want to put 35s on my TJ. What do you recommend? The gentleman there said 4.5 inches lift minimum. Alright, I can afford 4.5 inches lift. So if you do that, you're going to mess up all the geometry unless you do it properly, which is very expensive. And regardless of how you do it, you're going to need to either drop that transfer case, which kind of defeats the purpose, or get a slip yoke eliminator and a new drive shaft, which is once again quite expensive. So what I did is I found all those guys making Gen Right Highline fenders and Metal Cloak makes some. Who else makes some Highline? Poison Spider. They make these things called Highline fenders. And I eventually found this thing called Highlining, alright? What that is you come in here, and I did a terrible job at it. There's absolutely no question about that. But you cut the hood 3 inches, all right? You cut the hood 3 inches, and then you raise the fender actually literally up. The most obvious way to tell is if you can look down here, that fender should line up perfectly with the sides panel, or the side skirt, whatever you want to call it. And it doesn't. It's 3 inches higher, all right? Now, in doing so, you re-drill some holes up there. The ones up front actually will line back up just taller. And you've highlined it essentially. Now, you can do this much better than I did, all right? But it is a way to fit 35s, and it's the cheapest way to fit 35s. As far as suspension, this thing is factory, okay? We got an aftermarket shitty Pro Comp shock. We got factory control arms with bushings, which I assume are very unhappy with how much flex this thing does. And we have a 1 3/4 inch Rubicon Express polyurethane spacer, which may be getting warrantied out there looking at it. But just this combination here is enough to squeeze these tires in. These wheels, that's going to be another thing you have to look at as far as back spacing, have 3 3/4 inch back spacing, all right? So that means that from the back of this hub to the back of the wheel, like the other side, like the opposite lip here, is 3 3/4 inch, all right? That pulls the wheel out quite far. This is actually a very low number for back spacing. What that does is it keeps this tire, this inner bit of the tire here, from hitting that control arm, okay? What it does hit though is when the sway bar is up like it is now, it'll hit up here on the sway bar. Other than that though, these tires don't rub. The bump stops are factory, which is magnificent. Let me go over here, I can give you a better image of that. See, there's no additional bump stop there. Usually you have to put a little plate down here to give you some more bump stops so these tires don't hit, but on here they're factory, and it's it means that this thing has just tons and tons of up travel, and as a result never ever bottoms out, which I think is fantastic. It means you can kind of fly over things at an excessive rate of speed and not really worry about having an uncomfortable ride. In the back though, the back is a bit more involved, engaging. I mean, you're committing to the back here. The back, you got to roll the fender, all right? I saw a 4 Wheel magazine, an old article. They did the same thing. They highlined a Jeep, or they put 35s on with no lift. And what they did was they got newer low control arms, all right? These son bitches down here. I didn't do that, and the reason they did that is to try and move it away from the actual tub here. I don't see why they did that. There's obviously a ton of room. I could probably squeeze the 37 if I really wanted to. What I did was I removed obviously that plastic bit that usually goes here. Then I sliced it and rolled it like you would on like a shitty BMW you bought off Craigslist for 500 bucks and you want to stance out. Just rolled it all the way up. And not to toot my own horn, but it is quite circular. Maybe not as much on this side, but if we go over to the other side here, it's a pretty flowing line, all right? The rear though, you will need an additional bump stop. I purchased, I believe, a 1 inch larger rear bump stop for the rear. I didn't want to sacrifice all that up travel, so what I did was I trimmed it down just so there's maybe a 1/4 inch of space between that tire and the top of the tub here when it's at full flex. Now you can get even crazier if you want to. You can cut this and redo the actual little tubs in here and make this thing, you know, shove 40s in the ass of this thing and not have to lift anymore. However, if you don't want to get crazy about it, 35s are kind of your limit. As far as suspension, once again, completely stock for the exception of a 3/4 inch Rubicon Express coil spring lift in the back. Reason I did that was the reason I did more in the front than the back is every vehicle that has any sense of being able to tow or put any weight in the back comes with some factory stance to it. The ass will be higher than the front. Reason being is you put weight in and it'll even it out. This thing, I guess this thing actually probably carries a lot more weight than most TJs, but I wanted it level. And even as it is now, you can see there's probably a little bit more lift in the rear than there is in the front. But if you're going to highline your vehicle, a couple things I want to go over. Number one, do this properly so you don't fuck up your minty fresh TJ hood as I have done here. Number two, your battery mount, which is located in here, will be in the way. I got away with actually making a bracket that bolted to the factory mounts here and pushing it up probably a foot. I actually redid it because if you look here, it cracked off this mount, okay? My welds were amazingly strong enough to be the strongest point and make the tub the weaker point and break the tub. So there's a crack there. Hopefully whoever buys this vehicle next doesn't see this. The battery is now in the back here. All right, little shitty Duralast battery back here. Just, you know, ran my my positive, the ground's out right here. It's pretty fucking good, I think. If we come over to the other side, the other bit that will rub is your little washer bottle. That sits, I'll pop the hood here. The other part that will rub is the little washer bottle. This unit right here, I know it looks factory fresh right there. It actually mounts here from the factory. You can see the little holes for it. But when you move this fender up, it would contact the hood. So it's there and actually bolted on, and it clears it just fine. And actually, kind of like a little spot there. It's almost perfect for it. The other thing, though, as I just remembered, is the factory air box, which sits here and is this gigantic thing, will not fit. The fuse panel, which sits kind of here instead of here, will not fit. So there's some little figuring outs you got to do. I mean, obviously, if you want to just be shitty about it like I have been, get a 4-inch K&N air and just jab that bitch on the end. Take your little box here, bend up some just shitty metal, move it back, drill it in, or bolt it in this case. And then I would actually recommend moving the battery to the back to begin with, because it's just going to cause issues trying to get that bitch in and out if you leave it up here. Back there, it's just out of the way. But that's all you gotta do to fit 35s. Honestly, TJs have a shit ton of room underneath. You can fit ginormous tires, not really have to worry about it. This is kind of staggering to me coming from Grand Cherokee unibodies where you really couldn't cut them, but you could fit, honestly, I would think almost 40s without lifting this thing anymore. But that's probably in a later video. Thank you for watching. You got any questions about running 35s? I'd be happy to answer them. It probably will take a long time though, because I don't really care about YouTube or check it too much. All right, have a good day.